Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to NavalArt. NavalArt is essentially the designer, or rather the, let's say the ship design feature that Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts wish it had. Or rather, that it should have had. NavalArt is currently in early access, 0.8, or rather version 0.8 is what I'm running currently. The whole game has been designed by one guy. So please keep that in mind as you're going to be watching this video. This is a one-man band who has done everything. Now, what is the game about? Well, designing ships. So let's head over to the dock. Now, in the dock, you can create your own craft, but you can also download them from the Steam Workshop. This is a fantastic feature that this game starts out with, and, well, Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts does not. So how does this work? You got a ton of buttons, and you can build your ship as you see fit. Currently, I'm looking at the Yamato. This is something that I found on the workshop, and all the guns that you see here are fully functional. There are some decorative blocks over here that... whoops. Don't mind me. Just shifting turrets. There are some decorative blocks over here that you can just put down, and this is a work of art. The way that this thing was thrown together. It is really, really well done. So let me show you how it works in a battle. And then after that, we're going to have a look at how you can design your own ship. So, time for the test of the Yamato. We're going to be dueling against the Bismarck. You know, this historic battle that took place in 1947. Yes, of course it did. Target, defeat the German battleship Bismarck. Alright, what do we have on screen? Bottom left-hand side. Operational systems, armament, propulsion, and detection. You can also go to cinematic mode if you so desire, which I think looks fantastic. For now, I'm going to be operating in normal mode. I can fire all the guns, and when a gun is in range, you can promptly fire it. Bottom left-hand side, A and D turns the rudder left and right, but since this is a big ship, it's going to take a little bit of time. As I'm maneuvering, I'm already taking damage from the Bismarck. Right-hand side, middle of the screen, you can see the health on my ship, which is 124,000 hit points. Bismarck has 89,000 hit points, and that means it is time for her to get a bit less. The game does work with an aim lead system, so fire where the ship is going to be, not where it is now. Let's see if those shells are landing anywhere near, and this is also quite nice. You have a feature where you can follow the shells if you press Z as they are flying. Now that was a bit high, it appears. So let's try that again. I'm still reloading, 3.6 seconds. Missed. That's the mains. Second mains. Let's follow that along, shall we? Missed. Bit high. Now the ships take damage, and when you start to take damage you can lose weapon systems, but you can also gradually start to take more damage as you get, for example, your AA guns destroyed. On the bottom left-hand side of the screen you can see that I have that problem. I'm gonna press 2 to switch fire to armor piercing instead of high explosive. And let's see if I can actually get a hit this time. That looks to be smaller caliber. Mains are still reloading. There we go, overpen. Penetration, 1600 damage. That was the main armament. I'm not sure which shells I'm following, but it looks to be just the 2, so it is not going to be that deadly. Which means it's probably just the 8-inch. I have 116,000 hit points remaining, but Bismarck has 87,000. Now, I'm currently at 11.2 kilometer range, so sooner rather than later I should be in range of the smaller guns as well. Ah, hit. 1,300 damage. That was still 8-inch. This is 18. Non-pen. Ah, way high again. Need to aim lower with those big guns. Let's see if I can make a broadside run against this ship. Another hit. Pen. Come on, buddy. Over pen. Oh, just shy. Now keep in mind, this was all created by one guy. One developer. He modeled everything. He created the weapon systems. He built the engine. Well, he didn't build the engine probably. It's running on Unity. But damn, this is very impressive. There we go. Citadel. That was 45 points of damage. Sorry, 45,000. And in the meanwhile, I have taken some damage. Overall, the ship seems fine. And especially when you look at it in cinematic mode. I mean, come on. This almost looks better than Dreadnoughts. Especially considering that you can design the whole ship yourself. Now, let's see if we can put Bismarck out of its misery. Shouldn't take too long now. Module neutralized and module destroyed. We've blown off their B turret. 3 18-inch shells, and the ship has been destroyed. There we go. That was fairly easy. Bismarck killed off by the Yamato. But then again, they were never really quite designed to square off against each other. Mission complete. So, how do you design your own ship? Let's have a look at that. Back in the dock, time to build our own ship. Now, a ship designer, or any designer in a game, is usually going to take a little bit of getting used to. Right mouse button, holding it down, rotates the camera. And we start with this basic hull form block. If you press tab, you're going to go to the inventory, and let's see what we have there. We have all sorts of half blocks, standard hull blocks, diagonal bridge blocks, but the more interesting one is the adjustable hull. This is a really clever block, or rather a clever block system. I'm going to put it behind the main block and then remove the main block. This one is fully adjustable using the buttons on the right hand side. And what I'm going to do is first build out a basic hull form. So we're going to make it a bit longer and we're going to make it a bit wider. So let's say forward width is going to be 10 and backward width is going to be 10 as well. Now, the beauty of this designer is that I can stack something forward. And for example, if I want to start building towards the bow, I can make the forward width smaller. Stack forward, do it again. Stack forward, do it again. And this way, you can very quickly see a ship literally taking shape. I think this is fantastic, and it's something that I would have loved to have had in Dreadnoughts, because it would just make your ship design so much easier. I can also do the same thing. Welcome to the same thing. I can do the same thing towards the back. I'm going to stack a couple of standard mods or standard blocks. And now we're going to go with a couple of less backward width. And let's taper down to nothing. There. And that's your basic hull form done. There are many designers that I have tried that take a lot longer to get this hull form down. But this is a very clever way of doing it. Now, another very neat feature of this designer is that you can also stack on top of a block. This way you make sure that you have a block that lines up perfectly with the rest of your ship. And again, you can make this thing, adjust it as you see fit. You can say, you know, I want for the superstructure to be a little bit less wide on the stern. We're going to be spreading it forward a little. Actually, let's do that for both. Spread backwards a little bit, and then have the backwards width at 8 as well. And I want to reduce the height a little bit. Oh, sorry, that's the length. The height. We're going to move that block into position. One more. There. And now I can very quickly move this thing forward. And this one doesn't quite line up because I messed up with some of the editing or with some of the settings. But this way you can just custom design your entire ship. Now I'm not going to completely go over the ship design because I just want to show some highlights of what this game can do already in its current alpha phase. But needless to say, this is going to give you a ton of options. Now, time to put some guns on this thing. We have various options. We have lots of options, in fact. You have underwater torpedo launchers. You have various different nationalities of guns. You get the Japanese 100mm. And I can put these over here, for example. Now, they do stick out a little bit, which means that I need to adjust them. And that has to do with the elevator. I want to make sure that's inside the ship. And this already could fight. It could move, but it could fight. And any moment that you want to see how your hull reacts, you can just click test and you can immediately go to a test environment. And in the test environment, you can see how quickly your turrets rotate, how much the hull rolls back and forth. And you can already open up on anything that you see fit. Of course, these 100mm, especially on this very rolling platform, are not going to be terribly useful. On the other hand, if you want to have bigger guns, you're going to need a bigger hull. Because the Yamato that I showed you just before, that was a way bigger hull than this thing is. What else can you do? Well, we can make this thing move. That would be rather useful for a ship or whatever platform. In this case, I want to have a couple more of the adjustable hull blocks. And I'm going to put them here. It's a bit counterintuitive, I found, but it does work very well. I'm going to make a propeller shaft. 2 of them, in fact. I want both the top roundness and the bottom roundness to be 1, so I have a circle. I'm going to make them a bit longer. And that should allow me to move them into position. So we're going to drag this thing sideways. And I'm going to press M, and that mirrors it to the other side. That I had to look up to see how to do, but this is the way that you can do it. Then, for maneuverability, for engines, put on some props. Maybe the 4-blade large propeller is a bit large for this design. 4-blade tiny propeller is a bit small, but maybe the destroyer propeller is a nice medium. I'm going to move this thing into position to ensure that it fits on the propeller shaft. It doesn't quite fit. Arguably, the propeller shaft is a bit too large for what this thing needs. But hey, it works. We also need a rudder. We need to be able to turn around. And this is going to be a destroyer rudder that I just put over there. So now we have propellers, we have a rudder, but we do not yet have engine power. Now in the current version of the game, Alpha 0.8, we only have the ability to put on a chimney, and that immediately gives you horsepower. It immediately gives you engine power. You do not need to make a boiler or decide whether you have turbines or something like that. No, you don't. You can just put on a chimney, and now the ship can move. So let's move to the test. So let's see whether this thing will move. It does. And it's already going pretty quick at 30 knots. Will it turn? Yeah, slowly. Slowly. The ship is still spinning up. I'm doing 35 knots. And this way you can just, well, if you get a bigger chimney, I should say, you immediately develop more engine power, which is a bit weird, but that's how it is currently in the game. So, what else can you do here? Let me show you. Back in the dock, you can also add aircrafts. Yes, you can make your own aircraft. Well, not your own aircraft, but for example, I can put on a helicopter deck, which on this ship would look a little bit out of place, but hey-ho. And I can add a Cayman SH-2 Sea Sprite, ship-based helicopter, first flight in July 1959. This one I can then put onto the helicopter platform, and you can use that in battle as well. The same thing can be said for various float planes, and from what I've been reading, there are plans to add more aircraft to the game. What else? Modules. rangefinders, radars. These are for detecting enemy ship and aircraft out of range, or out of visual range anyway. We also have the ability to add a lot of decorative blocks. And I've already shown you some of these when I showed you the Yamato. But this is just going to take, well, you can spend a lot of time on making your ship beautiful instead of this bulky, blocky thing that I just threw together. But I threw this together so quickly to show you how quickly you can do it. That's something that, for example, in, let's say, Stormworks is utterly impossible. Utterly impossible. Let's have a look at some of the workshop designs that people have created. I really love that the thing has Steam Workshop support. That makes it a lot more interesting. And you can share your designs with other people. Let's have a look at the Fletcher. Now here we have a ship. This thing is, again, a work of art. It is really, really well done. You got the propeller shafts. Instead of using the artificial propeller shaft, these actually look like propeller shaft. You got the rudder. Instead of my weird flat, pointy stern, this actually looks like a stern. This thing has not actually usable depth charges, but these are adjustable hull blocks, just to make sure that you have a look of the Fletcher. We have a couple of 50 cals. We have the, I think they're 127, so 5-inch guns, torpedo launchers, a bunch of funnels, and, well, it really, really looks like a Fletcher. And the beauty of it is, with this game, once you have a design that you like, either by your own design or by something that you found on the workshop, you can then take it immediately into battle. You can, for example, have a fight between your Fletcher, or your boosted Fletcher, or your adjusted Bismarck, or whatever you find, and put it to the test against any of the other ships. And this makes for a really, really nice feature. What else do we have? Well, I found the Littoral Battleship. Seems to be vaguely inspired by the LCS, Littoral Combat Ship. But this thing has some creative interpretations. Because the LCS, I believe, does not come with guns this size. But this is very amusing. It even comes with what looks like a helicopter deck, although I think it was put in before the helicopters thing got added, because that was added yesterday, August 23rd, 2021. So right now you could just put a helicopter deck on here if you wanted to. These things look fantastic. This is something you can design. It's something I generally do not have the patience to design, but some people do. And, well, let's say naval... How should I put this? Naval artists. If you fancy yourself one of those, you can spend a lot of time in this game. Alright, last thing I want to show you. Essex. Aircraft carrier. If you thought that a Bismarck or a Yamato was a lot of work, an aircraft carrier is potentially more so. Of course, an aircraft carrier does not have a lot of guns, but it does have some to defend itself against air attacks. I have not tested the aircraft feature, nor can I give you my opinion on it because of that. But I gotta say, the Essex looks great. Lots of anti-air guns, of course, as you would expect. You got the, what is that, 5s I think they had, dual 5-inchers. Let's say that's a US turret. It's not a 203. That'd be too big. It's definitely not a 305. It's not a 152. It's... Oh, by the way, now that I scroll past it, we got the Italian Autobredal 127-54, as well as the Phalanx close-in weapon system, if you want to go for a more current look. And I believe that more and more weapon systems will get added to the game. Yeah, here we go. The American 127-38 dual-purpose twin guns. 5-inchers. And if you wanted to, you could say, well, you know what? That's a nice carrier you got there, but I think it looks better if it has the German 283 somewhere on the deck. Does it look weird? Probably. Is it workable? Probably as well. You can make all sorts of weird ships, all sorts of weird designs, and of course, well, creative freedom is entirely yours. So let's have another battle to finish this video off. For doing battles, you have two options in the current version of the game. You got the battle, which immediately puts your selected ship, which in my case is still the Yamato, against any of the ships that are currently in the game. You cannot really load all of them, but they are available as opponents. So if you want to, you can put your, let's say, your little ship, or maybe your big ship that you designed, against the Scharnhorst. Or how about the South Carolina? The alternative mode is to go for a quick battle, and this allows you to set up what ships are taking part. For example, I can set my own ship to be Yamato, and I can go up against a couple of Cleveland-class cruisers. I can also throw in the enemy, the steam workshop Essex, and I can set their difficulty as Ensign, Officer, Captain, or Admiral, or just have them as a target ship to see how effective my ship is going to be. Distance, do you want to start close, middle, or far range? And what time of day is it? Let's have a battle at dawn. The objective is straightforward, defeat all the enemies. We have the Essex at 26 clicks and a couple of cruisers at 19. The Essex currently is harmless. Well, I thought so, but not so much. Because it does have that turret that I gave it in the editor. That's going to make it all sorts of interesting. So this aircraft carrier does not actually carry any aircraft. Does not make it harmless. This thing can probably hurt me. A couple of non-pens from, I think, the 8-inch shells of the Cleveland up ahead. And, oh, we also have a friendly Yamato over there. Because, and this is something that I didn't quite get the first time I looked at it. In the battle designer, you pick your allies. So in my case, I added one Yamato as an ally. And that's what that Essex was shooting at. But your main ship, your player-controlled ship, is always going to be the one that you have designed. So keep that in mind as you are going to be doing a battle. Let's see if these shells are going to be landing anywhere close. Still transiting. Nah. Way over. But I might just leave that one to my ally Yamato and go for one of the Clevelands up ahead. So turn to port. Sound the horn. Oh, and let me show you this. T goes to RTS mode. And now I can dictate potentially... No, I don't think I can give orders to my ally, but I can do it from my own ship. And it does give you a bit more information about where your ship is, where their ships are, and how you might want to proceed with the fight. Now, a couple of 8-inch shells against the Cleveland shouldn't be too hard. We might even get a whole bunch of overpens here. But this Cleveland with one Citadel hit might just go down. Model destroyed, Citadel... Module destroyed. Look at that. That ship had 37,000 hit points. Now it does really not have that many. Whether this game has a flooding mechanic, I don't know. That's something I haven't seen yet. Maybe it's something that's in the works for the future. That's one ship down. There's another Cleveland up ahead. This poor Cleveland's getting absolutely mauled. Target destroyed. And it looks like the Essex is also in trouble, but is delivering some damage against the friendly Yamato that I have. We have destroyed their elevator, which I'm not exactly sure what it does. I know it has to do with the magazine on a ship, but the actual effects in combat, I can't tell you yet. There are still quite a few things that I don't know about the game, so I won't pretend to know them. But I just wanted to get this video out to you guys to show you how the game, well, how the game is currently, and my excitement about it. And no, this is not a sponsored video. But one of you recommended this game to me in the comments of a recent video. So I thought I'd check it out, see if it's any good, and if it is, show you guys in a video. Now time to finish off this Cleveland. And then we can get a couple more holes in the Essex, sufficiently so to sink her. The 8-inch guns are making quite a mess of this Cleveland. But the 18s are the ones that'll probably finish her off. Nope, not yet. Wow. I think that bow is pretty well armored. How things like ricochets work, I don't know. It's something I have not enough information about just yet. Okay, she's gone. Looks like the Essex is also... Well, she's taken a beating, but she's not dead yet. Mix of 18s and 8s. Citadel hit. Modules destroyed, elevator destroyed. That is not the elevator to the deck, by the way. I'm going to try to hit her amidships. That's where the Citadel is. That's where you can really get the damage from. But I think I might be outturning my own turrets. Regardless, this is an aircraft carrier. It probably does not have a lot of Citadel armor, if any. Come on, get the 18s in position to fire. Not yet. That's the 18s. Gone. Target eliminated. I took a fair bit of damage though. I'm down to 39,000 and I started at 124. Regardless, the cruisers and the aircraft carrier, well, in name, have been sunk. So that is NavalArt for you. NavalArt currently sitting at about $10 in the Steam, well, the Steam store. $10. Whereas it has quite a few features that would make Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts blush for $60. So about $60, give or take €8, if that is your currency. If you want to support the designer, you can either get the game, or you can go through his Patreon page, which is also linked down below in the description, because I would like to get this game the assistance that it can probably use. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Check out the game, linked down below in the description. I hope you had fun, and, well, have fun with the game as well, if you're going to get it. And let me know what you have designed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys soon for more battles.